Victoria Police Department.
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
May I have your name?
Operator 8590.
You don't want to give me your name?
Operator number is 8590. How can I help you?
That's a red flag. Yes, so my abuser is very powerful, and he gives me emails telling me what he's going to do. And each time that says that I'm going to jail, I've noticed that local law enforcement start depriving me of law enforcement when he's in a rage to allow him a free reign of terror and enlist accomplices in my environment. So this morning, I called to get feedback on what I needed to do to protect myself against these dispatchers out that were crooked and setting me up with the police department year after year. Okay, and repeatedly over and over in the middle of trying to get feedback on how to report their crimes, I get knocks at the door, and a lot of times it's taking my freedom. The dispatchers and the police department repeatedly set me up when this man's mad year after year. So the operator lied and said that I called 911. When I didn't, you could hear on my recording that I was calling the sheriff's department. So it's premeditated and prearranged that locations that I live demand that I not record those crimes so they can successfully set me up and torment and violate me. And it's a violation of my constitutional rights, and it jeopardizes my safety if law enforcement has set me up multiple different times. Someone's threatening to murder me, rape me, and all kind of other crimes, and they're all covering for it and punishing me for reporting it. They are completely oblivious, thinking that people will be deceived, that they're ranting and raging at me for reporting serious crimes. So it endangers my safety when my abuser can buy off all local police departments to arrest me for profit kidnapping and never see accountability. And then let him get gratification from my pain and suffering and let other parties be in cahoots. So I don't know how to report crimes the police department repeatedly keeps admitting because they come knock on the door, violate, assault, and there's never been any accountability for it in that 10-year plus time frame. So I'm asking how to report police that jeopardize my safety and my family's safety year after year.
I'd recommend contacting the Texas Rangers.
Okay, are they open today? Because it's a crisis situation when he's buying off local law enforcement to cover for assault with a deadly weapon. What is it called when cars come at a person to try to scare him?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Well, can you find someone that is? Because for 10 years, no one is ever sure of the law to leave me trapped in problems. Calling the police department.
Call. What phone number do you want him to call you on?
One moment. Hello?
Hello, may I speak with Kiana Clark?
Yes, may I have your name?
Hey, this is Sergeant Brewer with the Victoria Police Department. I was asking to be a phone call.
Yes, that my device just came on its own. It does that. It does it for years. Let me close it out. I perhaps need to cut it off. It's happened in front multiple different times in front of the police department. It just comes on and plays on its own several different times a day. I haven't been able to get law enforcement. And I'm sorry, what was your name?
James Brewer,
And your badge number.
1305.
Okay. I don't know what to do because my abuser says that I was going to jail last night. And each time that he tells me I'm going to jail, I do. He's saying that he's buying off local police, but I've been denied law enforcement for years. So they're essentially kidnapping me for this man and terrorizing me for this man. And I haven't been able to get protection from police that endanger my safety and my family's safety.
All right, so you said you went to jail last night. Where at?
I would like to concentrate on the fact that I've been terrorized by police.
Paralyzed by them? Okay.
Terrorized. They cover for
terrorized.
serious events, and they repeatedly have taken my freedom almost 30-something times.
That's a lot. All right, how is he, what's happening so that you're getting arrested?
They lie and slander me, 911 dispatchers, like in crisis situations with police setting me up. They tamper with evidence and lie and say I'm abusing 911 for reporting that someone's threatening to take my life, for some reporting that I'm in a domestic violence crisis trying to flee it, that I can't use my device and defraud it out of funds. Several different times a day, crimes are being committed with my device, which endanger my safety, and it's endangered my family's safety. They've covered for cars coming at me, actually hitting my son with the car, me being defrauded out of funds, cords being bought off, all of the ones that I've ever been in on these false charges, me being threatened, terrorized, cars coming at my friends, and then punish and violate me for reporting it. They strategize avenues to terrorize me, which is criminal, as an avenue to keep me from making reports. They are under the pretenses that if they terrorize me to such an extreme and take my freedom, I won't report crimes. But this is not a form of life that I want to continue to live. If they have to demand that I take someone saying that they're going to threaten the water supply, cause the apocalypse, and cover for insanity like that, it puts a lot of parties at risk. I've noticed the police department and demanding that people put me out. It's happened like 50 something times. So some locations that have had robberies, people pulling knives on me, someone putting a gun up to my head, throwing me down on the ground, pulling the trigger, and thank God it didn't have any bullets, and cursing me out, all kind of different abuse. And the police departments have covered for all of those events that threaten my safety. They've enlisted bus drivers to trap me in on buses and kidnap me, and there's no accountability for it. I've been kidnapped in taxis and on trains. And then they demand that I'm abusing 911 for reporting serious events like that and terrorize me for trying to get law enforcement. It's happened in multiple different jurisdictions. Each time I relocate and try to flee, the police department's bought off in locations that I live to be in cahoots. This location is demanding when my abuser was mad to not record crimes that the police department commits, which endangers my safety because they kidnapped me around 30 times.
Okay. Who is buying off these police departments? What's that person?
You already have reports on him multiple, but you guys won't investigate it. You have the information saying that he's going to threaten the water supply. You have an eyewitness testimony that my device is being hacked as well as hers. I've sent it out to multiple different locations. They've denied me case management and left me in it when I was terrified and afraid. And it's been happening everywhere I went for a time span of 10 years plus. Everyone that I've came in contact with, I've been pushed and shoved by police trying to get a protection orders, handcuffed, assaulted by police, and they have never seen accountability for it. The only party that I'm aware of has ever had accountability was Diane Hammer. Some kind of way, someone found integrity and they reported how they were terrorizing me in this jail, put me on lockdown, tormented me, demanded grievances that incriminated her, and I did a shakedown and went through my paperwork and took it, put me in restraints. So someone realized how that wouldn't let me go to court dates on the child custody agreement. Then the 255th District Court altered their court documents to cover for the crimes. I had court dates, several that they wouldn't take me to for profit and corruption. And multiple, now they're scamming that I can't go to court because I'm mentally ill and then won't let me go to the mental illness court. Everyone's alibi everywhere I'm at that all these crimes can happen to me because I'm mentally ill. Everywhere I've been, including my own family that witnessed my child being hit with a car, bleeding, and the police department covered for it.
Okay, that is a lot. All right. How can I help you with that? Is there any way specifically I can help you with it?
Well, you're a sergeant?
Yes, ma'am.
What are you required by law to do? To not get charges for yourself? What does the law require you to do to not get criminal charges?
What I could do would be to document our call and what you're telling me about today.
What documenting it and not doing investigation is charges for you, as what I've expressed that I've experienced for years. I have 300 and something reports of how police department has allowed people to terrorize me and attack me with repeated pickpocketing, robberies, and all kinds of assaults. And for 300 and something times, all they can seem to do is document, and these reports never surface. So I would like to give it back to you, demanding that my phone stay hacked and dispatcher set me up with police. I'm calling people all over the United States for a time frame of 10 years, and everyone I have came in contact with has covered for crimes and bullied me, hung up in my face to cover for them, or punished me for reporting crimes. So when I'm making these calls, if I'm not uploaded, the police department will set me up in places, demand that I not record crimes that they're committing, violating my rights. And there's been like 50 something put outs when my abuser was mad. He gets gratification sexually, like what's in an email, from me being terrorized and tormented. And all departments and everyone I've ever came in contact with has covered for this man, including my devices several different times a day. I can barely use my devices without recording crimes that are repeatedly committed on them. So when this man just tried to set me up, my YouTube went in this counterfeit site. And it's happened in crisis situations because I knew I was being deprived of law enforcement. So I have to do my descriptions. So as a paper trail on how law enforcement repeatedly terrorizes me and covers for crimes. So my device will glitch and go into some kind of alternate YouTube site where I can't document. And by you guys repeatedly covering for my devices being hacked, depriving me of legal representation, going behind me, covering for crimes, and enlisting everyone to leave me in this man's abuse, therefore covering for that behavior puts not only my safety at risk, but others around me, because you're essentially demanding that they commit crimes. But no one has ever held you accountable, or anyone else outside of my knowledge, outside of Diane Hammer. So the problematic part is no one's holding crooked police that endanger my safety and other safety under control. They demand that my device is hacked, which is criminal, even though it's defrauded me out of funds. And their scam for 15 years is I'll document that your son was hit with a car, but we won't investigate it, which is a felony. I'll document that someone's saying they're going to rape and murder you, but I won't look at the emails. I'll document that someone's saying that they're going to cause the apocalypse. I won't investigate it. I'll document that someone pulled a knife on you and you're being kidnapped. I'll document that. I'll document that these courts are depriving you of constitutional rights and everywhere I'm at. I'll document it, but I won't investigate it, which is criminal, but it has happened in over a 10-year time frame. So I'm being terrorized by law enforcement and being slandered and set up on a whim with dispatchers and police pathologically lying, and everywhere I'm at endangers my safety for 10 years. I don't want for someone to get gratification sexually and abuse power and to control you guys, and you guys don't seem to have common sense to know that you're putting your safety at risk as well as others. If he's threatening an apocalypse, threatening a part of poison water supplies, and you repeatedly are blinded by funds as minions, that puts your safety in danger as well as others. This behavior is a threat to national security, is what I expressed before COVID. So you documenting crisis situations that endanger civilians, like apocalypse, threats of causing an apocalypse and poison water supplies, that dangers other people. By bus drivers being enlisted to drive in traffic to scare me, turn into traffic, having people have to slam their foot on the brakes, shows that not only does a party have a mental illness, but you guys being the conspirators, you have a mental illness, as well as everyone else that wants to be in cahoots. So for 300 and a 200 time, 300 reports in a 200 time frame period that you try to deceive yourselves and others, that you'll document to stay out of prison, is getting me nowhere. There hasn't been an investigation, and I do realize a pivotal part of that is hacking my device and trying to deceive others that I'm problematic for you guys' repeated criminal activity. But as you can see, this has went on an extended amount of time, and everyone's alibi is I'll document it without giving you an investigation to leave you in it, which reaps criminal charges, what I don't see you guys repeatedly seeing. I don't know of any other arrests. So the problematic part about it is that you guys, no one is arresting you for your crimes and trying to deceive others that they are not committing crimes with you. If you're demanding that if civilians commit crimes for you to keep you out of prison, you're threatening their livelihood for demanding them repeatedly over and over to commit crimes, abusing power of law enforcement. I believe that's official oppression, and that's criminal. Terrorizing me, doing reports is a crime. Coming to knock on the door because I'm reporting crimes multiple different times, multiple different locations, demanding that hotels put me out, making them take the fall for law enforcement's crimes on hotel rooms I paid for, which a lot of times defrauded me out of funds. Banging on the door when I was mad, my abuser was mad at the Marriott courtyard, demanding with no reasoning, just knocking on the door when he was mad from nowhere and demanding that I left a paid hotel room. It's happened numerous times. So since the police came on their own, they're demanding that civilians said, call for nothing, and they have a right to put me out for no reason for a hotel room I paid for, trying to deceive people that you can just come and put someone out a paid hotel room, threatening to break the door down with no reasoning. That shows a history being assaulted and arrested for attending domestic violence support group around countless eyewitness testimonies. Women that were there were sitting, could be at the domestic violence support group without law enforcement assaulting them and arresting them for trying to flee abuse. Pushing and shoving them at Frank Crowley domestic violence location and child abuse division 2 times, removing me from George Allen, removing me from Fort Worth multiple different times, removing me from speaking with victims advocates, and then having all locations leave me in this man's abuse, documented 300 and something times with no investigation, is criminal. But yet and still, you guys never see accountability for it. Your crimes endanger my safety. If you're terrorizing me and covering for someone that's threatening jail and evictions, and then it happens, you're threatening my safety as well as others. But how do I get criminal charges? You're a sergeant?
Yes, ma'am.
If you're denying law enforcement and only doing reports, miscellaneous reports to conceal crimes, that puts my safety at risk. I see that it's problematic because why would you investigate yourself? But that's an abuse of power, and someone needs to investigate you to save a lot of parties' life and livelihood outside of mine. And for 10-year time frame, I just haven't seen people that realize that your behavior is a threat. And I believe to national security, as I expressed before COVID, and was ignored. I've never seen someone that could abuse this much power in my life. I didn't know it existed. The crimes that I'm reporting, I realize that you can't investigate it because it's not realistic and it would threaten the safety of the public. So you have to keep it on the down low. You have to hack my channel. You have to commit the crimes because it's too many felonies. But your behavior threatens a lot of civilians' lives and is a threat to national security, your behavior. Demanding that the public transportation drive into traffic and then covering for that, having cars slammed or foot on the brakes not to hit the public transportation. I'm having to call 911 to say that these buses are endangering safety, mine as well as others, to scare me because my abuser don't want me using transit. He shuts it down, which is a form, if that's a felony to shut down public transportation. But you guys want to investigate it, and endangering civilians. Dart, I almost was killed. Then they slammed my hand in the door trying to keep me from using transit, and then slammed my hand in the door. I was bleeding all over the place. Then the supervisor covered for it. They wouldn't give me a Band-Aid or a napkin. Then he came, the same supervisor, when another bus driver was scamming to get me off the bus. I was trying to go to the lake. He don't want me meeting people. He was jealous. So he shut down, had the bus driver lie. He's done it multiple different times. Shut down, had buses kidnap me, trains kidnap me, and taxis. And then they're saying that I'm abusing 911 for reporting these serious events and have done 300 miscellaneous reports, guns, knives pulled on me, and then blame me and say I'm abusing 911 for reporting crisis situations. I could report it to an officer the other day that I repeatedly have to call 911. He said that he never had to. I said, well, I always have to. But yet no investigation has ever surfaced. Each location I live, they're saying that they're being harassed and they're being stalked. Someone's finding me at these locations, even hotels, that jeopardizes my safety, but you keep documenting it and won't investigate it and won't look at the emails. Casilius was informed from this department with the witness that her phone was being hacked, which I'm being defrauded out of funds currently by multiple different government agencies and multiple different avenues. Right now, thousands. There are crimes right now that to keep me away from my child. And for all these years, I believe you guys are taking bribes to leave me in it and scam that you're documented 300 and something times, but we'll never investigate it, which endangers a lot of party safety. But you still repeatedly, year after year, do not get your charges. You let this man get sexual gratification from abusing me and terrorizing me, demeaning me publicly and violating me. You let him do it and enlist everywhere I live to be in cahoots with it. That threatens a lot of party safety. Documenting it 300 plus times is not doing anything. Why do you guys repeatedly scam to deprive me of law enforcement, even though it's criminal?
Okay. Anything else you need addressed today?
That was my concern. Why would you guys openly, year after year, repeatedly commit crimes? Why would you guys repeatedly do that? Why are you so arrogant and bold and think you'll never see accountability like Diane Hammer did? Why would you repeatedly abuse power to let me be terrorized all this time and my family? Putting me out of hotel rooms I paid for profit and demanding that you can do that because you have badges and guns, which defrauds me out of funds because I've already paid for the rooms. Demanding that I leave my property like they did in Tyler, if they're not still in it.
I'm not familiar with what happened in Tyler, I'm sorry.
I could communicate it with you because it's a pattern, and being denied law enforcement is a downfall of my abuser being allowed to buy law enforcement everywhere I live. That's a downfall because no one's sure of law enforcement and the laws. But yet and still they get positions as sergeants and corporals, but they're never sure of the law to keep themselves out of prison. So what happened in which you're not sure what happened where?
In Tyler, the place
In Tyler, the police department, this lady was being coerced to leave me and not deny case management like everywhere I've ever lived. So the government has a free reign of terror, and my abuser can leave me trapped in his abuse. So in Tyler, she kept saying that she was having emergencies on my appointment day, leaving me and not getting case management, afraid for my life. So I guess I don't know what happened. Maybe she didn't get her bribe payment or whatever. She said, "Okay, I'll give you the resources." The police department came on their own, so that shows evidence that I'm being illegally monitored. They came on their own, interrupted her from giving me the paperwork, and gave me a criminal trespass and demanded that I left my clothes. I reported it to the sergeant and internal affairs, how the police department would repeatedly come. I was in a hotel in Tyler at Days Inn. Since I didn't know what was happening with my life, I bought a fax. I went to multiple different locations. They claimed that my paper, even though it was perfectly flat and perfect, they claimed that it wasn't working properly. My paper was not going through. They demanded to copy it. It was bizarre, but no one can enlist locations I'm going to randomly to be in cahoots with abuse. That's impossible. So I thought it was bizarre. I let her copy it. Okay, she copied it, and then, crumpled up the old copy that wasn't good, and then said the fax machine was not working. It was malfunctioning. It was bizarre, but she crumpled up the old copy and gave me the new copy that it was malfunctioning. What she was really doing, because I didn't know what was happening with my life, I'd write out things so no one could know. I wasn't communicating because I thought my devices was being hacked. So I'd write out reports where it was hidden and no one knew. And she scammed to get a copy of what I was putting in my reports. That's actually what was happening at multiple different locations. So multiple different locations, they said their fax were down. But what I'm thinking is impossible. No one could enlist locations to keep me from faxing. They did. So nonetheless, I bought a fax. Okay, I was in a hotel room. I pulled out the fax, and Days Inn demanded that I left the paid hotel room before checkout. I said, "I'm in the middle of a crisis situation. I'm in a domestic violence crisis." He said, "You need to leave the hotel room right now." I said, "Sir, it's not checkout." He said, "Well, somebody else." And I said, "I'm extending my stay anyway." He said, "Well, someone needs that hotel room right now. You need to leave." I said, "No, I paid for this hotel room." Well, he says that, "Well, if you want to extend your stay," there were hardly no cars in the parking lot. "If you want to extend your stay, you have to go to another hotel room. Someone wants that one," while I'm trying to do the fax. Because he realized that he couldn't put me out my paid hotel room before checkout. So nonetheless, I'm doing the faxes. He's still calling. So I unplug it and just start doing my faxes. The police department comes and says that he don't want you here. And I said, "Why are you covering for this man?" And I gave him an upload of how I did this long report of all kind of crimes, and their computer glitched and I couldn't send the report. I showed him the video footage because a lot of computers have done it. What happened was, one location, I did all these reports, and I was successful in sending these reports. And I got feedback that there was a paper trail that I was actually being violated. So now when I'm in the environments, the computer repeatedly malfunctions when I'm using it. I'm at Austin Street Shelter. I got on the FBI webpage and was banned from the computer website. I'm not quite certain how they knew I was on the page to panic. Well, they were terrorizing me in this environment. And I called the police on them, multiple different environments that I live. But I realized the police department was having these people commit crimes, therefore covering for it. Felonies of depriving me of critical mail at multiple different locations. It's happened years, including my own apartment. So you documenting it all this time puts my safety at risk as well as other parties around me. You're demanding that people that are ethical commit crimes with you. And that's a threat to everyone's safety. If I had there's scandals and people are withdrawn from positions, I don't know why that was, that have been in ministries years, big ministries with a lot of integrity, but being demanded to commit crimes by law enforcement. Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship, Tony Evans resigned his position because he said he did some things unethical. Well, this has been an ethical man. I saw people that were violating me at Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship that looked like Secret Service. So that's a threat to a lot of party safety by you documenting for over a 10-year time frame to keep law enforcement from being accountability for threatening countless civilians' safety.
All right, so if documenting it is threatening you and a bunch of people around you safety.
Right, because you're not investigating it. You're just documenting it to conceal it. By you trying to cover for it and documenting it for reports that never surface is endangering party safety by you trying to conceal crimes for this excessive time frame. A man that was spotless with integrity now has resigned his position some kind of way when Secret Service was guarding him, demanding that his church commit crimes. Years this man has been spotless with integrity, a lot of followers, but he had to abide by Secret Service demanding that he commit crimes. Like when I was assaulted and drugged out of Ibach Church for begging for my life. The congregation that I've had been there decades had to witness the law enforcement be controlling the church and violating me for reporting crimes. I fell. They marched me out so quick. This sanctuary is huge. So I fell and they started dragging me in front of everyone in the congregation. I had attended that church decades and they had a scandal. So nonetheless, I thought that I was going to get killed on church property. When they body slammed me on the concrete, I was actually grateful. I thought I was about to be murdered by law enforcement. And that's not the only time that I thought law enforcement would murder me. Like at Red Roof Inn, I thought he was going to kill me. When he set up Red Roof Inn to take the fall for him taking bribes to set me up. Since they couldn't successfully set me up and detain me on false mental illness, they just came from nowhere. Just like today, I was reporting crimes that they were repeatedly committing. They're illegally monitoring my phone, which puts my safety at risk. Heard me reporting their crimes, came on their own to set me up. I was recording them and reporting abuse, and they left while I was talking to cover for it. Then enlisted Red Roof Inn to make false reports. That's a crime. That is a crime to demand a location. I paid for that hotel room a week. I had not had any interaction until they demanded a clean like the other location before checkout. I said, I don't, but I know that I'm deprived of law enforcement and you guys are setting it up, therefore cover for it. That puts my safety at risk. So they demanded they set up entrapment and then arrested me for asking what I have done. So they scam like it's my fault and I'm being like at Dallas Convention Center. They stole my battery pack for entrapment, knowing that I questioned how my new battery pack came up missing. It was vital because I was being terrorized by law enforcement. So they stole my battery pack and terrorized me for reporting it. And used the entrapment for me asking, why are you doing this? And arrested me. Like several marshals, I don't know, it may have been 7 or 8, it's uploaded. As you can see, that's theft for them to steal my battery pack and then arrest me for reporting it. And then gave me a criminal trespass where I couldn't come back. They did that at Red Roof Inn. Really what was going on, Red Roof Inn, I'm a really active person and I like going out. Red Roof Inn was about a lot of restaurants. He didn't want me in that environment being social. So he didn't want me at Red Roof Inn. They had to scam a criminal trespass. They shut the bus down, and that's not the local one. They had tape forcing me to walk real far. It was no reasoning for a crime scene tape to be at a bus stop. But he wanted me to have to walk real far to get to a bus stop, and there was a bus stop right in front of Red Roof. So I called on my phone trying to get directions. Dart lied. They wanted me to walk a great distance. I had to walk an exceptional amount of time because they've done it years. They lied and didn't tell me that it was a bus stop right in front of the Red Roof. Really easy access to transit. The police department put tape all over it. So and demanded that the bus not come to that bus stop just to have me walk and make it difficult for me to use transit. There was no construction, no nothing. They just taped it up and told the bus not to come to that bus stop right in front of Red Roof Inn. So in front of the Hilton, there was a bus stop there. The bus drivers did the same scam. I had to catch a lift because I couldn't use transit, and it's uploaded. So with the bus stop, I sat at the bus stop 5 hours. I witnessed several buses put garage on the bus. I called the police because I couldn't I had to catch a lift again with a bus pass. I couldn't use it. As you can hear, all of this madness endangers my safety, and for you documenting it 10 years plus is not doing the trick. I'm not safe with law enforcement. So I've asked for exit strategy because all these felonies you guys and crimes you repeatedly commit and enlist others to commit threatens my safety. And you just don't seem to be getting accountability because you document 300 and something times and never will investigate yourselves, which is common sense. So I'm not quite certain on what to do when everyone I come in contact with punishes me for being violated like this.
You said everyone you come in contact with punishes you for being violated?
Right. Like I'm being put out of here for reporting crimes. And I've been put out of PNS. These locations are covering for people stalking me finding me at multiple different locations, even churches I attend, and calling and harassing locations that I live in, and they're putting me out over being terrorized.
Where are you getting put out of right now?
I've been put out like 50 something times, multiple different locations on either blatant lies or locations I live being harassed. One location I was gone reporting my abuser, nothing had transpired. Like at a lot of hotel stays, I've been put out of hospitals trying to get medical treatment. So nonetheless, I was at a domestic violence organization that deprived me all services. The only thing they let me have in all domestic violence organizations that I've ever lived was able to get in was just get food, shelter, and clothes. All other services were denied. All of them have always protected, everyone I came in contact with has always protected this man and law enforcement racking up felonies for themselves. So I went to, nothing had happened. I asked, please, at this location, Texarkana Domestic Violence Prevention, I said, please, law enforcement is terrorizing me. Can you please go with me? They had accompaniment. They denied it and let me go on my own. So I went on my own, terrified and afraid, because I kept getting set up by the police department and law enforcement for reporting crimes. I came back and they had my items outside of a box and said they didn't know why they were doing it. So I called multiple different times to get feedback on why these locations my abuser says that he's controlling are putting me out, scamming to put me out 50 something times. I call the police on the locations for scamming. I've been put out for being assaulted. I've been put out for reporting harassment. I've been put out for recording someone pulled a knife on me. And I've been put out on false pretenses at P&S Shelter defraud me out of funds. They didn't like me recording. However, they were committing crimes with my mail. They withheld mail from victims' compensation. They sent it back in malice. They withheld mail from the IRS, how I'm being defrauded. I've done several tax returns that I've never got. I've probably around $10,000 plus, multiple different stimulus checks I haven't got. One tax return, I was defrauded out of like $4,000. It was supposed to be $7,000. There was a glitch and it was $3,000. I won't go to several tax services that are covering for it and leave me in it and won't do tax preparation. They didn't want me getting mail that I had did a tax my requested stimulus payments. Again, I've done it like 15 times and never got it. There's crimes with Social Security Administration and by places demanding. So they withheld mail from the Social Security Administration. They've been framing me with mental illness all this time. And I know that I don't have rights in this country. So I applied for Social Security benefits. It was a long, drawn out process. After it was completed, I was ignored. Before that, I was getting benefits from someone else. He told me it's a substantial amount. Go get your funds. Then it glitched and switched up to now I owe the IRS for years of payments I never got. And then COVID happened when I realized all these Attorney General child support payments are missing. They're scamming that I owe thousands. And it's glitching. They said that my rights were terminated and they're having me paying child support, but my rights are terminated. If your rights are terminated, you don't pay child support. But nonetheless, I was a legal custodial parent. So if I'm the legal custodial parent and they're now having me paying child support, they're lying. They do have evidence my rights were terminated. There's no other way that I can be on child support if you don't have those documents. But trying to conceal crimes, they hung up in my face. But I've been arrested, violated, and mistreated, and you documented 300 and something times plus times is not really getting anywhere. And only doing that is also, in fact, criminal. Even if you try to deceive yourselves and articulate your words that documenting all these years and not doing law enforcement and investigation is criminal. So we're in a bind because you guys don't want to go to prison, which is common sense. But who's going to govern you?
We're subject to Texas law just like anyone else.
Well, you're committing a crime right now by only documenting these serious events, and you're not subject to the law because I haven't seen it 300 plus times because you're not investigating yourselves. That's how you not get criminal charges. If you document and then scam that you're documenting it and these never surface and spin my wheels and waste my time and try to deceive others on YouTube that you're actually doing law enforcement but throwing my reports in the trash, and then when I get records, they never surface. That's criminal. Terrorizing me for reporting this insanity is also criminal. My abuser, just like he told me I was going to jail Friday and then went to jail Sunday. He told me I was going to jail last night, and then they tried to set me up and lie and said that I was abusing 911 and I wasn't even calling 911. When they trying to set me up and I see this repeated pattern of dispatchers trying to set me up with the police, then I call 911 because I realized she made a false report. That's a crime. And now they're strategizing to conceal all their crimes and that I will be punished for reporting their crimes as they've been doing years, leaving me trapped in this insanity. So I haven't been able to get protection from you.
Well, I'm a little confused. You said I've taken over 300 reports. This is actually the first
As you know, I don't know why you're deflecting. 300 and something reports from law enforcement, all in all their jurisdictions. This shows a paper trail of law enforcement being bought off and controlled. We're in demanding that civilians commit crimes. I think the problematic part is while I'm exposing crimes, the party on the other end is trying to conceal them. That's probably where the disconnect is. But I would never see integrity as long as my phone is hacked and having me being networked to people that are paid to conceal crimes on my device. The tricky part is proving that this repeatedly keeps happening.
Is your device your cell phone? When you keep saying my device, is that your cell phone?
All my devices. In fact, Casilius has a report, the uninvestigated report of an eyewitness saying that I've seen her phone hacked. A lot of different times when my abuser was mad, I couldn't use it, period. She saw it, me and Co saw it, and covered for it. So nonetheless, for whatever reason, she was honest. She said, yeah, her phone's hacked. It seems like someone's monitoring her. She gets emails. When she says something, she'll get an email stating what she said. In addition to that, she stated that not only her phone was hacked, but several people in my circle, their phone was hacked. We try to place calls and it happened to a person in this new environment. Like I try to speak and it kept putting both of our phones on hold. So we couldn't have a conversation. And like I said, it's happened with other people. If the party don't like the conversation, he'll repeat it, put it on hold so we can't speak. And then the other calls I don't get for 10 years plus. My phone don't ring unless it's someone that's accomplice to my abuse. And you guys won't investigate that either, which defrauds me out of funds. I've called attorneys countless hours, thousands of hours on the phone on it, calling attorneys, and they're all covering for crimes hanging up on my face on this multi-million-dollar lawsuit. No one has done anything about the fact of me being terrorized where I had this case against this man. They were taking me seriously. But they had to do something until the court got bought off. So they gave me criminal trespasses each time I tried to enter the building. They lied and gave me a reason to criminal trespass for no reasoning because they didn't want me at the Northern District Court on Commerce in Dallas, which is criminal. That's clear-cut obstruction of justice. If you're giving someone a criminal trespass where they currently have a court case, then COVID happened and then everyone was bought off.
Yes,
so all these government officers that had committed crimes, they now had their alibi. Like I said, Social Security Administration and all these government agencies were defrauding me out of funds and committing crimes. So prior to this, before COVID, Social Security Administration security put me out because I asked for a payment history, and they put zeros on the payment history. That's not a payment history if it's zeros. So I said, how could this possibly be a payment history if it doesn't show payments? I waited hours for that. Then security removed me and locked up and closed up during business hours. CPS locked up and closed on Ledbetter during business hours when they couldn't furnish all these reports of child abuse. So after they locked up and closed up, I got police came and gave me a criminal trespass, and I was arrested at the Arlington location for trying to report child abuse and interference with child custody crimes. As you can see, these reports are serious, and by you committing a crime and only documenting it 300 something times, it's a criminal offense. By denying me investigation. But I get it. That's the only way to keep yourselves out of prison. But it's criminal. So my question is on this phone call that police that refuse to abide by the law 300 and plus something times, what do I do with that? How do I report that no one is giving you guys your criminal charges outside of the only party I know as Hammer, of it being Hammer? How do I get the police department to get accountability for terrorizing me and enlisting civilians to do the same? if you are only doing miscellaneous reports to cover for it.
If that was actually happening, that would be a very difficult thing to achieve, I believe.
Right. That's why people haven't gotten their prison sentences. But as you're a sergeant,
Yes, ma'am.
so it's impossible to achieve because everyone is in cahoots with crimes. It's impossible until someone governs government officials that can't abide by the law and demand that others around me not abide by the law. I've seen people crying, having to be forced to commit crimes by law enforcement. At Parkland Hospital, when I was being guarded there, they demanded for me trying to flee abuse for them to give me shots. Law enforcement doesn't have any medical standing on demanding that someone get a shot for trying to flee abuse. They did it. But let me tell you why they did it. I gave Parkland Hospital staff that was terrorizing me at my hospital stay evidence of what the police department was doing. They didn't want to be in cahoots, and they stopped terrorizing me at this hospital stay. So after they saw my YouTube channel, then law enforcement came and demanded these parties ID and intimidated me. But they weren't terrorizing me to the degree of what they were doing at first. So the police officer that was guarding me demanded that they send me to Dallas Behavior, where they terrorized me there. They demanded that I be degraded at the support group, monopolizing the whole support group around degrading me. I had a right to not be there, so I left. They demanded that I get a shot for leaving the support group where I was being degraded, threw me down on the ground, 4 people, and pulled my panties down and gave me a shot. I woke up a couple days later with blood in my panties. So nonetheless, I reported to the patient advocate, and it's uploaded to the YouTube channel while they let people threaten me, throw water on me, that also terrorized me at Austin Street. She came by me, terrorized me, and do some of the similar things that they're doing in this environment when we're in group settings. And then when I started doing the same thing that people had, like as community transformation, when I started treating people the way that they treat me, because I can't get law enforcement, they panic and then start trying to punish me for treating people the way that they treat me. They do weird things to try to scare me in group settings. I have an email stating what they're doing and why they're doing it. I have an email saying that they're going to jerk their bodies and kick their feet, and you're going to feel like a soccer ball when they're done. What they do is they do this, they're jerking their bodies, and when you have a multitude of people doing this, it startles you, and it's uncomfortable. But if you haven't experienced it, you won't know how it feels. So they're on camera footage doing this, scaring me during a group setting, trying to praise the Lord or trying to just simply attend a meeting. It's a strategy to deflect and scare. If you just imagine that you're in an environment and someone runs or someone makes a sudden movement and does it multiple different times, that's kind of startling. But it's also a way to smear someone with mental illness, because people wouldn't perceive that people do it. But I have an email stating that they will do it, and I'll feel like a soccer ball when it's done. And I've had to endure this years. It's a way to terrorize and taunt, and I never see accountability for it. So they were doing this at this church in tears. So when I started doing it too, Pastor Scott immediately got up and demanded that I left. And he said that I was slamming my bag around, but multiple different parties were doing it too. So since they kept doing it, terrorizing me through Bible study, I just started doing it so they can see how it felt. They didn't like it and tried to put me out the church and then slandered me, saying that the police wasn't committing crimes. But there was someone from the church that said, yes, the police department Cecilia's covered for her device being hacked and trying to report this man. She told the church that prior for them to slander me and say it wasn't happening. So since I sent the church because they claimed it wasn't happening, the death threats that I got that the law enforcement covered for, and I reminded them that they heard about the eyewitness testimonies, and then it was ignored, and they did not discontinue all transit to the church. That's not the first time this has happened. It also happened at Arborlawn when a car sped up like he was going to hit my friends, and the police department was guarding it. And when they got caught, they are now working behind the scenes. I was also arrested at Gateway when the police was guarding it. And they were also, Secret Service was guarding Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship. And at Potter's house, this man put a chair in front of the owl. He had a suit on to sit next to me. I said, who are you? Why are you sitting by me? He said, I'm here to make sure you don't get out of control. He was there to make sure that I didn't report the government's crimes to the Potter's house. So I went to try to go get help at the Potter's house. Police was guarding Potter's house staff that help people with like social issues and help. He was guarding them. So when he guarded them, she claimed that she was calling all these places that were full and depriving me of assistance, and she had other people to see, and I got nowhere. So I realized this repeated presence of law enforcement where I was really not getting help, and sometimes, a lot of times, mistreatment. I'm not quite certain on why police demanded Parkland Hospital with no medical credentials to give me a shot. I saw them telling them to give me a shot, and they did it. That's a lawsuit, but I can't get legal representation. Another time at Parkland, when I was there on false pretenses, they demanded that I was blocking traffic at the courtyard. I wasn't. I was just sitting there with peace. 3 police officers came from nowhere, handcuffed me, and said I was blocking traffic. I said, check the camera footage. People pathologically lie. They wouldn't. And then I have a criminal trespass from Salvation Army in Dallas now. So they took me to Parkland Hospital. I had funds on me, new shoes, clothes, jewelry. They stole all of it. All of my property was stolen. They didn't follow policy and protocol. They took the phone where I recorded police coming from nowhere. Because I know I get terrorized by the police. When I saw them, I knew they were setting me up again, kidnapping me. So I recorded it. My phone came up missing, all my property. And they didn't follow policy. And I had thefts from multiple different hospitals and multiple different other locations. In fact, I have a theft of my ID here. I wanted to go to school. I am very particular because I know I don't get law enforcement. I keep my ID. I used to just keep it in my bra. And it's kind of embarrassing because I could pull out my bra, but I kept getting pickpocketed and couldn't get law enforcement. So since I'm in my own environment, I left my ID and I go out and certain things that were close, I left my ID and it came up missing. And for a person like me, that's a really big safety risk because I don't get law enforcement and I don't get help. So if I'm put out of this place like I am, that is scary because I don't get help and the government is demanding that I don't get help and I'm trapped in it. I have no ID to get in shelters or get any business taken care of. That's why I was stolen. So back to how do I protect myself against police that break the law and enlist parties around me to do so as well. And do countless miscellaneous reports to conceal crimes.
Well, I think the best thing you could possibly do would be to seek treatment for the mental illness you were telling me about earlier.
Well, making a false report is a crime.
Don't make a report.
I think right now you're committing a crime by making a false report like they've done for several years to conceal crimes. That's criminal.
Okay.
And what I would like to reiterate is how I can get law enforcement accountability for slandering me and enlisting parties around me to slander me to conceal crimes. I would like to focus on whether you deceive yourself and try to deceive others that I'm mentally ill to conceal crimes. I would like to focus on, my question is, you're wasting my time as it's been wasted 10 plus years. Are you refusing to answer how I get accountability for law enforcement that abuse power and oppress me? You don't want me to know that, even though that was a question. You're denying me of answering that question by strategizing and demanding that I be mentally ill to exit the conversation and having to answer how police can get accountability. I think that it's a red flag if you're denying me to answer that question. If you're kind of deflecting and demanding that I be mentally ill, like multiple other police have done, which jeopardizes my safety, like they just did a few minutes ago, tried to set me up until I upload it, that this threatens my safety and others. So is there a particular reason, if I'm asking you that question, why you're avoiding it and blaming me for it?
The FBI and make a report.
Okay, so which FBI location do you perceive that I should go to?
Your choice.
Are you trying to withhold the information and that's the sole purpose of this call? I'm new to the location.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm new to this location, so which location would you perceive that I go to? I think that it's a red flag by you trying to hide the location in your law enforcement.
Just look it up on the internet and go to
I just want help because I'm new to the location and my device is hacked. I reported it years, but I've been deprived of law enforcement. And like you said, if there's eyewitness testimonies and you have them, the reports, is there a particular reason why you won't look at them? The evidence? Isn't that a felony?
I believe the best thing for you to do.
We're deflecting on the fact that if you have police reports and eyewitness testimonies and you're trying to slander me with mental illness, is that indeed a felony? Is my question. If you're trying to deceive me and others, we really don't get anywhere to not get your charges. So if you have eyewitness testimonies and a body cam footage with Casilius, why would you make a false report?
Okay, ma'am. I'm not making a report.
You made a false report telling me that I had a mental illness. That's a false report and that's a crime. So I would like to concentrate on why you're covering for Casilius and the eyewitness testimony that's there and trying to slander me with mental illness like everywhere else I've been. Is there a particular reason why you just can't see the body footage, body cam footage, and look at the eyewitness testimony, even though not doing so is a crime?
Well, when I tried to ask you about it earlier, you ignored the question. And
That's a blatant lie. You're slandering me like all law enforcement that I was able to speak with.
Okay.
You can hear this recording on YouTube. It's about to get uploaded. So I don't know why police pathologically lie. They did it several times the other day, and it's criminal. But, so I think, like you said, it is a predicament by me being railroaded to talk to people that have payrolls to enforce crimes and enlist parties around me to do the same. So back to the fact that your investigative skills and law enforcement skills are not up to par, because if there's eyewitness testimonies like armies full of other locations, relevancy of demanding that I be mentally ill, it really doesn't make common sense. If there's emails that you demand that no one sees. All law enforcement that I've came in contact with, and evidence of that is being arrested by Officer Collins in Austin, badge 7245. And you try to deceive me and others that you can't report me being terrorized by law enforcement. That it has actually caused injury, their crimes, and damage to other parties around me by you abusing your power year after year with no accountability. It's not only puts my safety at risk, but civilians around me at risk while you allow their phones to get hacked because they're in my circle for profit. That's criminal. So trying to deflect and demand that I be mentally ill to keep yourselves out of prison, that's not the purpose for this call. The purpose of this call is to see how I can get you guys your criminal charges for repeatedly breaking the law and never seeing accountability for it. That was the reasoning behind this call, and now you're trying to slander me to stay out of prison. I'm sorry?
I've asked it a couple times. Would you like me to answer it again?
Okay, so you're saying the FBI, but you're trying to conceal the location, and you guys have covered for my phone being hacked years, which is criminal. I realize you cannot investigate the hacked phone because it keeps you and your accomplice out of prison, and that's your job. But that's not safe for me and the people around me. For you to repeatedly abuse power like this, and we have established a paper trail of you guys trying to deceive yourself and other people, they're not being cahoots with crimes. To the fact that you have demanded this man to commit a crime and he has integrity, I don't know what's happening. He didn't release to the public while he was resigning his position, but it may have something to do with police demanding that he commit crimes to keep themselves out of prison. I wouldn't feel good about that if I had spotless track record. I met him and he was really loving and kind. And I said that I feel like you're a celebrity. I've listened to you for years and, I've attended your church. He was really in love and compassionate. And then the police department demanded that he be weird. And something is on his conscience we don't know as the public details. But I imagine if you let someone, Secret Service, demand that someone be put out of your church for trying to flee abuse, that wouldn't sit with me well. And it's uploaded to YouTube. And you have a spotless record of integrity, but it puts people in the bind. If law enforcement repeatedly goes around with badges and guns demanding that they commit crimes and frame someone with mental illness to keep themselves out of prison, what do you do with that? That's why it's a threat to other party safety. Law enforcement don't need to go around demanding you commit this crime so I stay out of prison. And the person that I'm on their payroll. We have to keep him out of prison. You commit this crime. So you're stating that I call the FBI and you're withholding which location to go to now that I'm in this new environment. It's like you said, it is a predicament because you're allowing my phone to be hacked to keep this man out of prison and you. But it's defrauding me out of funds and it's criminal for you to let me sit in that all these years and all these other crimes that other parties had to be accomplices with you with at your hands. I don't know, they scared Parkland staff. I don't know if they made them think they were going to jail if they didn't break the law of what was happening. But I've gotten arrested multiple different times for trying to report crimes, being kidnapped and violated in jail. So you made a false report and you guys have already strategized. My abuser has said that you were going to do it in the emails and you're doing it. He said I was going to get put out and I am being put out. He's saying that these people are taking bribes and he's making payments, and it appears that you are. So there's no way for me to protect myself against law enforcement that refuse to abide by the law year after year. Is that a possibility? So you're saying go to the FBI? Is that what you're saying?
If you believe that a local law enforcement agency is bought out and taking bribes, then you would report that to the FBI.
Okay, is there a particular reason why you're denying law enforcement if you're saying that it's not happening? Is there a particular reason why you're committing a crime and not doing law enforcement and saying, if I believe, and you have eyewitness testimony and body cam footage of someone stating, and that you could see Casilius covering for this man that I was trying to report, and then being bullied by police department? Is there a particular reason why you're saying that why would you deny law investigation? So you wouldn't have to assume that I was mentally ill or I perceived. Is there a particular reason why you wouldn't listen to the eyewitness testimony or the emails admitting to it? And why could you witness on the body cam footage the Casilius demanding that Midcoast not give me services?
Sorry that you feel that way, though.
It's on body cam footage, a 20-minute conversation that Casilius had with staff, demanding that they not give me services that they didn't give me. The legal aid lied, like multiple different legal aides, and said that she had to refer me outside and wouldn't give me any legal knowledge. She said she didn't know. Multiple different legal aides did it. And then they had me do all this long drawn and paperwork for legal aid, other legal organizations and aides to deny me assistance. It's been happening years. They won't give me legal representation, attorneys, everyone I come in contact with, even in jail on false charges. Those are violations of my constitutional rights. I'm not quite certain if it's on body cam footage and uploaded, why you are deceiving yourselves to stay out of prison and demanding that it didn't happen when it's on body cam footage and uploaded. That's criminal to do that. It's just not trying to deceive year after year. I don't know. That's a felony. You're tampering with evidence. You're deceiving and trying to coerce and cover for this and saying that it's not happened so you can have a free reign of terror and this man and never see accountability. That's what you're doing, and it's a crime. All these miscellaneous reports trying to deceive other people and me, it's criminal. Slander me, demanding that I be mentally ill to stay out of prison, once again, is criminal. And you're saying go to the FBI. What location? If you're not tampering with evidence and you have integrity, what location? I'm new to this location. I'm sorry, sir, what did you say?
I said the location of your choice.
But I'm asking you what's the closest location here my device is hacked. You're making it difficult. That's a red flag. I want to speak with law enforcement that have a legitimate interest in helping me and not trying to set me up and conceal crimes. And as long as you hack my device illegally, I don't think I'll get it.
Would you like their phone number?
Yes.
1-800-225-5324.
Okay, but the problem, I like the address.
I don't see an address.
Well, here's the problem, that you guys are aware my device is being hacked. And evidence of that is how I was at CPS and they demanded that I call when I was at CPS. And I said, I'm here, I don't want to call. They demanded, and then when I got my phone, security came, and then they panicked. And then they said, okay, I'll get someone out, and then they covered for the crimes. At Attorney General, when I was trying to report the missing child support payments and stolen payments, then they were helping all these other people around me, and they demanded that I get on my phone and place the call. I said, I'm here, I don't want my phones hacked. They demanded, and then when I uploaded, then they said, okay, that'll help. Then security came and they removed me and tried to set me up so I could not report all these stolen child support payments and how my payments were being manipulated, robbing me of $5,800 in a crisis situation until they got caught in it, and then they gave me my funds, and another time $3,000. And then they're trying to deceive people that I'm not good with money. I have a history of being good with money, even being homeless. But it's strategized avenues to wipe me out of nest eggs over and over again, year after year. They put me in places when I built up, when at P&S shelter, I had built up $4,000. So they strategized, and I had made a payment for $1,000 for my child, for so she could have. So SMI One Card canceled my card without my permission, like they've been doing years, and I've been trapped in it, denied law enforcement. So they canceled my card in malice, so I didn't have funds. It forced me to have to cancel this, cash this $1,000 money order that I was about to send to my child. I looked it up on the phone. So PNS put me out in a scam on a false report. They lied. I paid the $125 rent. They lied and said that they were putting me out because I missed one appointment. I got a call that night saying that I would be put out. And the next day I was put out. And they lied to do it and defrauded me out of funds. So since they had strategized meticulously this put out, they had SMI1 card, which they have done years, and you guys let me sit in and be trapped in it. They canceled my card in malice, forcing me to cash this payment to be able to have hotel stays because I was blacklisted from all the shelters. This is went on years. So all the shelters blacklist me as a strategy to wipe out my nest egg. It's happened years. So then I go to the hotels. The police department defrauds me out of funds, demanding that I leave paid hotel rooms, and then I don't get refunds for them. So since I know you guys repeated behavior that's went unaddressed, I go to hospitals now because I'm not safe being blacklisted from food services and all this and all kind of assistance and not having funds that puts my safety at risk. So now I go to hospitals and say that I'm suicidal. Now the hospitals are saying, hospitals that I don't know, I don't meet the suicidal criteria. How would you know how I feel if you're not scamming? So at Parkland, police demanded that I not get medical treatment or mental health treatment. I was there 8 hours and they were playing games. They discharged me and I was guarded by police and it's uploaded to be discharged and forced out of a hospital.
Yeah, I definitely think you need to have mental health treatment. Yes.
Well, it's uploaded. I get it that keeps you out of prison, but it endangers my safety when you're covering for law enforcement demanding that I be discharged from a hospital to keep me from getting medical treatment and mental health treatment. And it's uploaded, so I'm not quite certain on why you just can't look at the evidence, and not doing so is criminal. And trying to frame me to not have accountability for multiple different jurisdictions of law enforcement being out of control. That's criminal. So you demanding that I be mentally ill to conceal these crimes is a crime in itself. There's no need for you to slander me if you're not committing a crime when it's uploaded to a YouTube channel for evidence. So can you explain to me why you have video evidence and demanding that I'm mentally ill like everywhere else I'm at?
Ma'am, I haven't told you anything about video evidence at all.
I'm expressing that this is uploaded to a YouTube channel, as I've expressed to multiple different jurisdictions of law enforcement that demand to keep themselves out of prison and my abuser, that mental illness. So can you express to me how you guys don't have a problem if it's recorded and uploaded in evidence and there's 300 and something reports substantiating what I'm saying that you won't investigate? So you can slander me with mental illness to stay out of prison year after year for profit.
Posting things to YouTube is not illegal, so that's why we don't have a problem with it, because it's not breaking the law.
What did you say about YouTube, sir?
I said recording things and posting them to YouTube is not against the law. That's why we don't have a problem with it.
Well, locations that the police department is being controlling demands that I not record crimes, so you can slander me with mental illness and say that they're not happening. You don't have to say that. You're making people take the fall for your crimes, which is a threat. You're doing it and saying that you don't have a problem for it, and you're demanding that these locations take the fall for crimes you're committing. You have a problem with it, but you're demanding that this location say that they have a problem with me recording law enforcement when you're really in cahoots, demanding that they do it. Like they did at Red Roof, like the paper trail of evidence that I said. Like he demanded that Mid-Coast not give me services, and they didn't. Like they demanded Tony Evans be in cahoots with their crimes. You are not taking the fall for your own crimes, and you're demanding civilians do it.
But that it can be investigated. Is there anything else I can do for you today?
You're saying that with this, there's no report number, that I'm not protected against police that take bribes to terrorize me? What was the relevancy of this call to deny law enforcement? You said that you would document it. Where's the documentation that I'm reporting that police terrorize me and refuse law enforcement and commit crimes?
Would you like your case number?
I would.
2506 2370.
2506 2370.
Correct.
2506 what?
2370.
And what was your badge number again?
Still 1305.
Okay, and that's kind of condescending. What was your badge number again? It's still 1305. I'm just trying to show strategies of oppression that I received from law enforcement. Okay, what is your name? Can you spell your name?
And you've been repeating this again and again, so I'm going to...
I don't... How do you spell your name? Are you disconnecting when I want your name? The spelling of your name?
It's Brewer. B-R-E-W-E-R.
B-R what?
E-W-E-R.
Okay, and what slander were you supposed to give me, sir? I didn't really get the feedback on how you're trying to taunt and violate me on this call. on low key. What were you saying, sir? Yeah.